Here's a secret from Arm & Hammer for fresh-smelling cat litter.
My name is Joanne. I have 2 kids, 3 cats, and I just tried Arm & Hammer Ultra Last cat litter, and it's been amazing. This litter is magic. It has just made my house smell cat-free.
Ultralast has powerful odor destroyers, plus every granule is coated with baking soda to give you longer-lasting odor control, even if you miss a scoop.
I'm definitely switching, and thanks to Arm & Hammer Ultra Last, I can have my cats without the litter box smell.
Switch today, be odor-free tomorrow.
PodcastOne.com presents the Ask Women Podcast. A place where 2 female comics and a professional wing girl get together to dissect the female mind.
You don't know how I feel.
And explain it to men in terms they can actually understand. Boobs. Now, here's the lovely ladies of Ask Women.
Welcome to the Ask Women Podcast, where you get real advice straight from the source, women. I'm your host, Kristen Carney. Well, one of your hosts, Kristen Carney, a wonderful comedian and actress. If you don't know me, look me up. You won't find anything. And, of course, we have the relationship expert, best-selling author, Marni Kinrys, and writer-actress, Haley White.
Holler.
Hey, and Mo, the bald guy with style.
Yep, that's
the bald guy with balls.
No, he's a hot
balls. I got balls.
He be representing the dudes for all you guys.
To my boys.
Thank God. Honestly, it's so good to have a man in here. It is really, because I would start feeling weird if it was just
It's
us
just
women.
way too much estrogen.
Yeah, it would be an estrogen fest of us like gabbing and going on
Talking
for
about
hours.
our tampons
like,
and stuff.
A sewing circle of sorts.
Yeah. You bring us back to our masculinity.
Although you might have to do it with your fists occasionally. You do bring us back.
Couple slaps, couple fists.
Don't get people excited.
Learn from him. Learn
Don't
from
get
him.
them excited.
Learn from him.
Yeah,
Well, we have a
We're old
special
school.
guest on the show today.
I know we do. I'm so excited. We have
I'm excited.
Ryan Keely, who is a sexpert. I love that term, by the way. And I don't know.
And she's going to answer all your questions about
we are gonna
sex.
Get
Well, what
into
does it say
it.
about her
I mean,
on
I'm
that
so
page?
uncomfortable with it because Ryan doesn't know this about me, but I'm a super prude.
That's why it's perfect.
That's why I do the show.
She'll be quiet the whole time that
Yes.
Ryan is on.
Just taking notes.
Which will be interesting.
Just taking notes.
Very interesting.
Well, I wanted to just tell you guys this. I just got back from home this weekend, and I'm from a horrible cesspool of nothing. And
I mean, that's a stretch,
it's
Kristen.
bad. No, it's bad. I cannot believe it produced me. You know what I'm saying?
I can't because you're
so amazing.
I'm so amazed. I asked my dad, I'm like, how did I come from this? Because I'm like so opposite all of you. But it was disappointing because my father owns a business and our store got robbed this weekend.
Oh, that's horrible.
And it's just happening now in droves. It's like meth heads and
Oh
like
my God.
zombies. It literally looks like Night of the Living Dead.
So what happened?
It's awful. Well, my dad, is on the routine. They close every single night at the same time, so it was after they closed. But the person they think worked at the store or with my dad because they knew where everything was and they didn't
Inside
rummage
job.
or anything.
Right.
Yeah, and the camera
shit.
was like the system was taken down and all that stuff. We don't, and this is how pathetic it is. Our money has no store. Our store has no money. That was backwards.
Wait a second.
Our money has no store.
Dyslexic. But we literally have nothing for them to steal really anyway. So that's how pathetic it's getting, is that like the poor are stealing from the poor. It's not like we have this like multi-million computer business warehouse.
What kind of store is it?
It's a pizzeria.
It's so creepy.
Who
that
wants all
everyone's
this
They were
inside.
stealing
What do you
dough.
steal, dough?
Pepperoni, mushrooms.
He stole my pepperoni.
It's also got like a
No way.
Yo, let's put a
So
bill.
No,
you
I'm
came
kidding.
back
They
the
told-
next
they
day
sold
and
money.
like 8 green peppers were gone, a couple of
Yeah,
onions.
and I was offended.
I would be offended
to get
too.
my
But they were
nutrients in
hungry.
them.
You were giving
Maybe they
people who were
That's true.
hungry.
It's a
Maybe
good
they
deed.
stole your family recipe.
Oh,
A recipe for disaster.
Bastards.
That's the only recipe we have.
that's horrible. So that's horrible being home and having that situation.
But I wanted to say it because I look around and it is that thing where there's no one to marry. There's no one left, that's a viable human being anymore. There really isn't. And it's like people, like the good people are leaving in droves, and my siblings are still there. And, I mentioned this before, but there's no one to choose from. My brother's single. He's been single for a long time. Yeah. And, unless he wants a teenage mother, he cannot find a
Well,
girlfriend.
that's an interesting topic because I get lots of guys writing into me constantly saying, I live, miles away from the big city in a small town. How do I meet people? I've read what you've had to say, but
Yeah.
it doesn't apply to me. So what would you say, like for somebody like your brother? What is your advice?
Move. Get going
Get
before the
online.
going's good.
Yeah.
You know what I used to do is I used to go to different counties around me. I grew up in Thousand Oaks, which is not a super small town, but it's a small town. But I would go after the Westlake girls, the Simi Valley girls.
Yeah, but the thing is,
So
we're
surrounding areas. It sounds
we
like
are
you're
so
really
isolated from good surrounding areas
Yeah.
that it's a good hour and a half drive to anywhere that has a Starbucks.
Really?
Oh my
Really,
God.
and not that
That's
I
a world
measure
I never
worth
wanna
by
know.
Starbucks,
So your
but I
suggestion
kind
is
of do.
move. It's basically like
That's it.
You don't, yeah,
I
because
work with
you're
this
not.
one blueberry farmer.
Oh, cute.
that a thing?
Yeah, and I was like, how do I join you? How do I pick these berries? I want to do it. But he called and said, I am like literally an hour and a half outside of a small city and then even further outside of a large city. What do I do? But he did have a couple of girls in his small city that he wanted to interact with. But yeah, what do people like that do who think that they have no options around them?
You get a goat.
You get a go.
I mean,
Well, that's the answer for us, folks. You get a goat and you have sex with the goat for the rest of your life. Who knows? You never know.
They
It could be
create
great.
better looking babies than what's coming out of my town.
Absolutely.
You move, with the internet, I think now and chatting and stuff like that, I think there are other people in other cities. You look at the football player Manti Te'o who had a relationship, even though it was with a fake person. People are having relationships online without even meeting people.
Right.
Go out there, get your mental stimulus, meeting someone, video chatting with them, and then if you could build something, then go venture out and that way you have someone there.
Oh, good
The
tip. I
internet's
like that.
opened it up.
yeah. It's nice to have flesh, though, like real human flesh.
Oh, I thought I said flush. I was like, what is
but
that?
flushing is good.
Flushing with flesh. No, it's kind of scary to me, that whole, all the catfish stuff online.
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
know.
meet someone first and then follow it up.
But
Some
it's
video
tough
chats.
though in a small town.
Yeah.
It is tough.
That's why you have your mental stimulus online, and then you got your fat girl next door that you just
Or your
busted
goat.
out.
Or your
Or your goat.
Or you just create the online profile to meet Neve and then try to date Neve from.
What? Who's Neve?
Who's Neve?
He's from Catfish. He's the guy.
Oh, that's his
I don't
name.
actually watch the show. I just know to make
Speaking
fun
of,
of it.
Neve follows me on Twitter. He only follows like 99 people, and he has like millions of followers.
Speaking of Twitter.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you, segment. Full
Segue.
circle. Or segue. Sorry. Damn it, I screwed it up.
Segment.
What I was going to say is that Kristen has been quite depressed over the last few weeks because we don't have a lot of Twitter followers. And it's getting depressing
Yeah.
for me, too. So,
I have no
for
reason to get
everybody
out
who
of
is
bed.
listening, please do something about making Kristen happy and make her happy by following us on Twitter. And what is the Twitter address?
It's at Women Podcast on Twitter.
No, that is incorrect.
At Women Podcast.
At
Women Podcast.
I
That's why nobody's following
I
us.
think
You don't
At
even know.
Women has like a ton of
I got in at like
followers.
4 a.m. and it's only like 1. So I
So it is at. Is
I'm
it?
like, wait a second.
Now I can't say it. It's at Ask Women.
Podcast.
That's it.
That is
Twitter.
correct.
And that's also where
I
we're
might
on.
even
We
start
said it
tweeting
correctly.
more.
Yes, and make her happy too, and follow her on Twitter as well because she'll be ecstatic and like through the roof happy.
Yes, I will. But before you guys do that, you're going to have to listen to our segment, The Man's Playbook, which I want to now kind of label, take the P off and just call it The Man's Laybook.
Ooh.
Like X off, X
I
off.
like
Us
that.
coming up with
Yeah.
new terms.
We can leave
like
the
it.
P on, but then put a little or X through it, so then it's.
I like that.
I like it. All
These are
right.
your rules to getting laid and
Exactly.
doing it classily.
On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing.
All right, we're back. That was a nice
Did you like
little
our fancy
speech.
intro?
Yeah, from Al Pacino. Fantastic. What is that from?
Any given Sunday.
Any
Is it
Given
Al
Sunday.
Pacino or Robert De Niro?
No, it's Al Pacino.
I
Okay,
always get
all
them
right.
confused too. I really do. They're both the same person. Although
They are.
if they ever
They
heard
are.
me say that, they get pissed. I'm sure. So I wanted to start this segment off by telling you about my first and actually only ever one night stand. Because we do have a sexpert on. I wanted to talk about sex and how men should go about having sex with women. Because I actually just read this recently in a Men's Health magazine, which I read at the gym and then tear pages out so that we can have questions on this show. But it was saying that a woman's first experience really dictates how she reacts and responds to sex later on down the road in her life. So for me, I was a huge prude. And anybody who is on my website or reads my newsletters know this. I was like a kissing bandit. I would kiss for months and then like break up with people. So when I was in Australia backpacking, I saw this guy. We were out at a bar, and I saw him, and I was just like, that is the cutest guy I've ever seen in my entire life. He was out with his friends. He was having fun, like not paying attention to me at all because he was having such a blast. He was a leader. He was like literally 5'7", really scrawny.
He had
like,
an accent.
Yeah. Oh, and he did have an accent. That was his. I didn't know that yet at that point. I didn't know he had an accent, but that gives me chills. And so I would slowly, position myself around him to try and get his attention. He gave me no attention because he was fixated on his friends, but at the end of the night came over and talked to me. Turns out we were staying at the same hostel, and then asked me if I wanted to walk back with him.
Wait, is this going to get to the part in the story where you say you have sex in a hostel?
Yes.
Oh no, I don't want to know.
I was young. It was fine. I was 20. It was all good. And then he stabs me 18 times. No, it doesn't happen that way. So we walk back to the hostel and we go into my room and we start making out.
With other people in your room?
No, there was 8 other people sitting on their bunk beds watching. No,
Figured.
We were really fancy when we were backpacking and had our own private rooms. Me and 4 other girls, but they weren't there at that moment. And so we started making out, which I'm a kissing bandit, so like I love kissing. I was totally into that. And then he went to go for my bra, and I like immediately tensed up. And as soon as I tensed up, I was just like, this is over. I'm going to make an excuse soon for him to leave. All these things were going through my head, and I was very insecure and uncomfortable. But as soon as I tensed up, he noticed that I tensed up, stopped what we were doing, looked at me, and he said, if you ever want me to stop or you're uncomfortable, you don't want to do anything, and he literally took my hand. He said, just slap my hand, slapped his, and we'll stop immediately. And because he said that and allowed it to be my choice whether or not we continued, and I knew that he was okay with it. He was okay with us just having a conversation for the next 45 minutes. Doesn't mean he wanted it, but he would have been okay with it.
He's
and
like,
then,
just slap my hand and then slap my ass.
And then tug on my penis. Yes, exactly. And so then I banged him, and that was my first ever one night
in a hostel.
Stand. In a hostel.
Love.
It was.
I like
it
that
was.
you use bang too. It's
such an aggressive term for Marnie.
Just banged me.
With 18 people watching us in the hostel.
They could totally hear you, though.
Wow.
So you're saying you guys banged because of what he did in telling you it's okay to stop and making you feel comforted? Is that what it was?
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that suddenly my sexuality was my choice, like the reason that I was so prude, and I probably still am still prude, is because I had a lot of guy friends growing up, and I would get to hear them after they would bang other girls, and they would belittle them, they would talk horrible about them, they wouldn't call them back, they would call them sluts, whores. I never wanted to be one of those girls. So for me, I was like, okay, you're gonna have to jump through hoops if you're gonna get into anything into my hoop, exactly. And so it made me very fearful of men in the way that, they saw me, that they would see through me, or they would see me as an object. And I think for a lot of women, if we're not comfortable in the bedroom, it's not going to be a great sexual experience, because a lot of men do see through women, and they have this goal in mind of, I want sex, rather than like, okay, what do we want collectively, and what is she comfortable?
Exactly.
So I wanted to talk to you guys about like maybe some sexual experiences for you that were good or bad, or points that you have to add on to.
Well, I think it's the same. This can be applied to so many things in life, but you get more with, I guess, sugar than you do with
more bees with honey than vinegar.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's just a typical scenario of that quote.
Yeah. I had a funny experience when I was losing my virginity. I was like really Christian for a long time, so I was in denial, for a long time. I'm sorry, Dad, if you're listening.
She's still a virgin. Shut it off
totally. But it was interesting because I was in denial for such a long time that we were having sex. I'm like, no, this isn't sex, right?
Just the tip.
This is just that game for a long time until
that
I
little
was like,
thing couldn't be actually a penis.
That doesn't count. Until he's like, Haley, we're having sex. And I'm like, oh.
I was that way about masturbation.
Were you?
Yeah.
Look at
and
this.
I'm going to
She's
start
like,
blushing. I can't.
Oh my God, we didn't have a whole
Even
segment
your
on
face
masturbation.
right now.
Well, it was like, we talked about it as girls in high school. It was like, well, unless like you actually have something inside, nothing is masturbation unless there's something inside.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Right. So that was a thing that we went back and forth with for a long time.
See, this residual Christian guilt that we've been plagued with has fucked us up.
So you're saying that, like, as a woman, you have these things on your plus other insecurities as well. And what are some insecurities that you might have when having sex with a new person?
Well, I think what you mentioned, Marnie, was part of it is that whole, like, labeling thing, which, by the way, really fucking pisses me off. It's such a double standard, you know? It's like women are just whores and men just get to, like, go home with their crown and be like, look what I did. You're feathering your cap.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think for women, we need to feel completely at ease, and that's going to help us have an orgasm. That's going to help us feel like we can have a better emotional connection. So if we're not emotionally connected, if that's shut off, then there's no way you're coming in sad.
Right. And actually, we're going to talk to Ryan Keely about that because I think she'll have some really good pointers on how to ease a woman into sex.
And I'm really interested to hear about her perspective on pornography and how that has kind of changed men's perspective on what they think they want versus what they really need to do to get the girl. That's what she does.
Good points.
I want to hear about it.
I like it, Haley.
I realized when I was having sex at a young, I started early. I think I started having sex at 14, which is pretty crazy.
Poor.
No, that's
mode.
Old.
And I
you were way behind the curve.
I think I would have wanted to had sex like at like 5. Because I was just
Were you that aware of your sexuality that young?
Oh, I was. I had a girlfriend at 5 or 6. I just always loved women. I think I was just held too much as a child, and that's the problem. I still seek it.
Yeah, but you're also that kind of like, I don't know, Middle East breed. Is that what you're saying?
The Middle Eastern.
But you guys like are very
You're like a lover, though.
I am a lover. I take pride in that.
Yeah.
But what I realized with a lot of women I had sex with, it's when I stopped talking about sex with them in the act of having sex, and I didn't put the pressure of sex on it, it always led to sex. And for dudes especially, we're so cock heavy first, and it's like, yo, buddy, chill out, put the cock away, do everything else that's going to lead up to sex, everything. Visualize it in your head before you get into it with the girl so you understand, okay, I'm going to work here, I'm going to work here, I'm going to work here, and then sex is going to be like the 6th thing on my list.
For anyone,
I'm turned on. I'm very turned on.
For anyone out there who is a Three Amigos fan, amazing comedy from the 80s, it's crazy that I can find relevance in this conversation with Three Amigos.
I know. I'm dying to find out.
But there's a scene with El Guapo, if you guys are listening and you're like, oh my God, El Guapo, he's the best. He wants to have sex with one of the town's women, and she's not having sex with him, and he's held her hostage. And so his friend Jefe says to El Guapo, like, when will you sleep with her? And he's like, Jefe, women are like they're like petals of a flower. Like, when they are ready, they will open themselves up to you. And then Jefe says, well, when will she open herself up to you, or something like that? He said, tonight, or I will kill her. That's like my favorite line from the movie. But I mean, that's really relevant.
Advice for men.
It is, and that was my first kind of understanding as a little kid. I watched that movie since I was like 6, and I remember once I kind of grasped that idea, and then I was like, oh, he's talking about rape. Like, it just, but I understood
and murder.
that, and it's true. Yeah, and it's true. I think a woman does have to be really comforted, and for me, my first experience, it was like because I was comfortable. It wouldn't have happened otherwise. I wasn't turned on. I wasn't ready to change my womanhood. I was really, really comfortable.
Yeah, you had to be eased into it.
Right.
Well, also,
I was actually laying on just like a bed of pillows. So I was really comfortable.
Unlike that homeless man who we saw lying in the shopping cart on top of his pillows. It looked very comfortable. But it's also, I'm going to tie it back to something else, but it's also like, sadly, a power thing for a lot of women, because there is this fear, and you've heard it a lot of times, even on television shows, that after the guy sleeps with you, it's like, oh, well, that was it. It's over. That's when the relationship kind of ends. So I think that that's a source of discomfort and insecurity for a lot of women, too, especially in the beginning stages of dating. All right, so that was the man's playbook for the day. And now we're going to get into our next segment called Analyze This.
Sorry, I wanted to help out. All right, and now we're going to analyze your questions in our next segment, Analyze This. You guys emailed us your questions on dating and love and relationships, and we're going to dive in and give you some pointers on some things you can do for next time. Marnie, what do we got?
Well, we have an email from Al. Okay, so Al had written this long email, and I'm not trying to make fun, but just a very long email, so I tried to condense it as much as possible. So basically, he's talking about this girl who we met. He got her phone number, and then I'll read the part of his email. Well, I quickly came to realize that she's a very busy girl, particularly with work. When I do text her, it takes hours most times for her to reply, but she always does. And apparently, she travels out of town at least 2 weeks of the month for her job. So she says planning ahead of time is best if I like to go out with her. Interesting. She's returning from a vacay cruise with her family this week, and I want to ask her out this weekend for brunch as a first date, but I'm not sure what's the most effective way to do so. If I call her, which I've heard is the best way to do it, and she doesn't answer, should I leave a message? Should I wait and call back, or should I text her? The one time we did speak over the phone, I texted her ahead of time to see if she would be free to chat in the evening, and she told me she would call me after she got her work done, which she actually did. On another occasion where I called, the only time I've ever called her, with no notice, I couldn't reach her. Okay, so main question is, like, how should he handle this? Should he call? Should he text? It sounds like a lot of work for this guy, to be honest.
It sounds like our schedule's packed, so he needs to be really aggressive and just, initially, I would say my suggestion is to call once, leave a message. If no reply, follow up with a text, very, very brief, very short, and that's it. Yeah,
it sounds like she's responsive. That's the thing. But it does sound like she's very busy.
Yeah, I've been in the situation where you're trying to get a hold of somebody and perhaps like, I think they were going out of the country or they were going to be on vacation, and so you call and it was the wrong time to call. You realize they're gone, and then you call again and it looks really weird. Or it's like that situation where your phone kind of messes up and you call and you're not hearing the ringtone, and then you call right back and you look a little crazy.
Oh, I hate that.
It could get a little sticky like that for him if he's trying too hard to contact her.
I think it could.
So I think, again, with Haley, just one sharp call, cool message.
Yeah. But I would plan more in advance because he wants to get together with her this weekend. She doesn't sound like an give me 2 days notice kind of girl. It's like, give me a year and a half and maybe we'll play plans.
It sounds like she's treating her life like a business almost. And this guy is just a business relationship that he needs to schedule in. If I was him, just schedule it ahead of time and give her like a week or two in advance to really lock something down. And then once you're on that date, impress her. It sounds like with this girl, you're only going to get a couple shots to really impress her.
Well, she has limited time.
Yeah, and you got to prove that you're worth that time.
And she has to prove it to you as well. Like, it's worth putting in this effort to try and get a date.
Yeah, you better really like this girl.
Yeah.
Because if you're thinking this as just a bang, it's not going to happen, buddy. There are other easier women out there. If you think of a relationship with this girl, then go through the work.
He wants a relationship, he said, though.
Yeah,
that was
I think so.
Clear. So I think that's good advice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Al, for asking this question. If anybody else does want to ask questions, write into ask@askwomenpodcast.com. And I have another question.
Bring it on.
This one is from Lorenzo. I love that name.
Ooh,
Lorenzo.
You ruined it. No.
You've ruined the name. How can I tell when a girl is being nice compared to when she's flirting? Because most guys get very confused on that, which is very true. So how does a guy tell if she's just being nice and friendly or if she's like, I want you? What's the difference?
I think a smart thing to do is to see how she's treating other guys, because if she's being nice to everybody and it's the same demeanor that she's giving you, it's probably a nice thing. But if you're singled out, then perhaps that is a flirt.
Interesting. And Haley?
I'm all about physicality, so I think if she's like touching you and getting closer to you, that's a sign that she's has more like sexual feelings.
So she's touching you?
Yeah,
you think?
and yeah, I mean, I like I was saying, I'm kind of a hugger. I tend to hug everybody, and so maybe beyond just like an initial high hug, like actually like giggling a lot, being really feminine. Well, you were saying that you change your voice a little bit.
Oh, I change my voice when I'm flirting.
What's your voice?
It's either like this, actually my radio voice as well. It's very close to it. Or I'll talk like really girl. It depends what kind of flirting I'm trying to do. If I'm trying to like seduce and impress, I have a deeper voice and my eyes, like I'm like laser focused on Haley right now. Like laser focused on my eyes, but they're a little soft, and then I'll like lick my lip. I know.
Home.
She's into me.
All you'd have to do is just get like a stethoscope and listen to my heart. Because then you'd know if I'm flirting or not, because I'm super nervous.
Exactly. But that was a good point that you made that I never really think of. Like, because For this question, I don't know who he's asking about or what scenario he's asking about, but a lot of guys write in saying about like a waitress, for example. So if those guys were to look at how she is treating everybody else, it is true if she's super friendly and she does touch.
She's just trying to make that money.
Exactly.
What she's trying to do.
But if she is spending more time with you, she's touching you a little bit more, talking about more intimate things, getting close to you, I would say that's flirting. But again, I would say apply the roundup rule.
This is a tough situation because there are women out there that are in relationships that just don't get attention from their man. And all of a sudden they treat these bars and these places as a forum to get that kind of attention.
For sure.
And they lead these men on. They literally just whoop their cock out, about to touch it and insert, and then all of a sudden go, I got a boyfriend, and then run off. And it drives us fucking nuts.
Speaking of that, Marni mentioned a few weeks ago that she knew of someone who, a girl 21 years old roughly, got punched in the face.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't mention this on the show,
No.
but we had been talking about, like, what were we saying?
We were
that
just
women
saying
give out
that-
their phone numbers because it's easier than saying no.
Because
and
men can become very aggressive.
Right, very aggressive. And so my intern the next day wrote to me and said, oh my God, remember what you were talking about on the show? Well, this girl was talking to this guy, they were flirting, and then she said she had to go. And then he literally came outside and punched her in the face because she had led him on. I can't imagine what this girl, like, was she giving a hand job underneath the table? Like, how far she was going to lead him on.
Maybe just talking. Maybe he was aiming for her crotch and just accidentally hit her in the face.
Exactly.
It's a misfire.
But, like, that, you have to understand, like, that is what happens to us. And I get, yes, we rile men up and get them excited about things, but that's I'm making an excuse now, but that's part of our femininity, being sexual and being playful. And, you know, that type of frustration, that should be part of the man's playbook.
Unless
not
it's
good.
snooky, no punches for
punches.
I think if the girls are
she gets a
talking
pass.
about sex, that's also a hint that she's into you, or if something sexual gets brought up.
What
'cause
you
I
were
think
just
that gets brought
saying
up.
is that you're saying that, like, I know when even when myself, I'm not getting certain attention, I will get flirty attention from other people because I want to feel attractive, I want to feel wanted. I never go so far as to get, like, really sexual. Have you had that happen before, where a girl's like, oh my God, I want to take your clothes off, I have a boyfriend?
No, it only happens in movies. It doesn't really happen in real life. But there are some girls.
She wouldn't
that,
have far to go to take most clothes off, though, because I'm seeing that chest hair
I know,
sticking out of that
it's my
under
beast.
shirt.
No,
Beast mode.
Beast mode. But there are, you know, some women are very open and flirty about sex, and I've met women that are like that, and they are fun. They're just girls that like to have fun, and you're probably going to get some that night, and you don't really question whether they're into you or not, because they normally really are. I think it comes down to the end of the conversation or the moment of, can I get your number, or can I take you out? I like, instead of can I get your number, I like, can I take you out sometime?
Yeah.
I like that too.
Because that's saying right away, can I take you out? Can we do something that's a little more serious than friends or this conversation?
Yeah.
And then right away, you know, is she into you? Is she not into you? And that's it.
It's got a little 50s twang to it, too.
Yeah.
Can I take you out?
Oh, I like it.
Have you
a little
seen
old
that
school.
sketch where he's like, can I have your number? It's like this,
Which sketch? Where?
It's like this black guy, and I think it was on SNL. I was like, yo, can I have your number? And he just keeps asking, no, really, can I have your number? Anyways, it hit me. Sorry.
All right.
Check it out.
Well, thank you very much, Lorenzo, for asking that question. Do we have time for one more?
Yeah, let's take one more.
Okay, cool. All right. So this is from Lee. My question for all of you is pretty sad, I guess. See, I have just lost my virginity.
Yeah, Lee, why is it sad?
Amazing. That's not sad. But it wasn't exactly who I would have wanted to do it with.
Mom.
Sorry. It was with a girl that I'm not I cannot read from this far. I am so freaking old. Okay, it was with a girl that I'm not too physically attracted to, yet she's a very nice person. After we had sex and we talked, and I noticed she had been hurt in the past by some guys, and she wanted to continue seeing me sexually exclusively, a friends with benefits thing. She seems to want a relationship, but I made it a point to tell her that I don't want anything more. To be honest, I want a little less and to only be friends. I don't know what I was thinking, but I can't say I didn't hop on the opportunity. So basically, he's asking, what do I do? What do I do with this girl? Because he basically doesn't want to have sex with her anymore. She kind of wants a relationship, it sounds like. So what does he do so he's not a dick?
Go to the store. There's a brand called Hefty. It holds heavy weight. Just put it all in that bag and put it on the curb.
Just tie it up.
You're like, don't talk about anything, just ignore. That is Kristen's advice. No, horrible.
As a man, we all go through this. Sleep with a girl that we don't like, but it's just there. And especially for this guy who just wanted to lose his virginity, I wouldn't be as honest as saying, I just used you to lose my virginity. It's like, look, I really like our friendship.
You were like the rehearsal to me actually fucking somebody.
Yeah.
You were like,
counts.
And
right?
you weren't even the dress rehearsal.
Just be honest. Be like, I didn't like you like that. I don't like you like that, but I really care about you a lot as a person. Let's just stay friends.
I would even say, be direct, but just say, like, I'm not ready for something right now.
Yeah.
Like, I know we had a connection, but I just feel like let her off a little easier.
Well, I'm wondering how old
Sounds like she's really
is.
into it.
Yeah, I'm wondering how old he is, and also what her, if she's had sex before, or if he was the first one for her.
Oh,
because that
interesting. Well, she said she was really hurt by guys in the past, so I'm assuming not a virgin.
Right.
I don't know.
So I'm assuming.
Well, he's going to continue the hurt, so get ready.
Yeah,
it sounds like a stage 5 flinger.
That's interesting. That's true, Mo. It's a pattern because it sounds like I don't know how old this guy is, but
and for dudes out there, look, if you're sleeping with girls that have been hurt a ton of times before in the past, there's normally a reason why they get hurt all the time.
And you can add one more to their diary entry. So
exactly, and then they can become amazing comedians later in life. So
so Lee, cut the umbilical cord. You know, you gotta just snip, and you can do it. We're proud of you.
And he sounds like a nice guy, actually. By the way that he kind of formulated that question, and so I think whatever he does might just come from a good place in his heart. So I don't think it takes too much analyzing.
I love it.
Get back out there.
All right. Well, thank you guys for writing in your questions. We have a ton more, but we like to gab. We're girls. So if you guys want your questions answered, make them good ones, make them short, but write into ask@askwomenpodcast.com and follow us on Twitter at askwomenpodcast.
What's up, boys and girls? Adam and Eve is determined to help you spice up things in the bedroom, and they're backing up that promise. So check this out. Go to adamandeve.com and you'll get 50% off almost any item when you enter the offer code AskWomen at checkout. Okay, so that's a great deal in itself, but if you do it now, you'll also get the free Big O kit. That's right. Who doesn't love the Big O? Hello. Adam and Eve's Big O kit includes their exclusive Climax gel and a mini vibe. What? Who doesn't need that? You'll also get the entire order sent to you for free. So hurry. Take advantage of this deal while it lasts. You can choose a new adult toy, a naughty movie, or almost anything else for half off. Then you'll get free shipping plus the Big O kit, including the Climax gel and the mini vibe. Just use the offer code AskWomen at checkout. That's AskWomen at adamandeve.com. Hey dude, stop waiting for supermodels to fall out of the sky and start shaving the real world with Gillette Fusion Pro Glide. You know when you can smell someone's body spray from 5 miles away? Yeah, don't be that guy. Put down the spray, you're better than that. Stop selling out and start standing out with Gillette Fusion Pro Glide Shave Gel. Replace your old razor with Gillette Fusion Pro Glide and start getting a nice clean shave instead. It'll make you look like less of a creepster, honestly. Gillette Fusion Pro Glide is tougher on hair, gentler on skin versus Mach 3. Guys, it's time you stop falling for the hype and try Gillette Fusion Pro Glide, now available with a new look at Walmart. And while you're at Walmart, do your roommate a favor and pick him up a bottle of Gillette Fusion Pro Glide Shave Gel. He'll be thanking you when all the women come a-flocking. It's time for a dudervention, guys. Stop falling for the hype and start shaving in the real world with Gillette Fusion Pro Glide, now available at Walmart.
You're listening to the Ask Women podcast, a Podcast One presentation.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Welcome back to the Ask Women podcast, where you get real advice straight from the source.
Women.
Marni, tell us about Amazon.
Well, Amazon is fantastic. It's absolutely amazing. I buy my toothbrushes and toilet paper from there.
That is so weird, by the
It's
way.
not so weird. Literally, I'm the laziest person in the entire world, so it's not weird. It's wonderful, and it comes directly to your door when needed. So how is that a bad thing? Anyway, if anybody has to go on Amazon to order toilet paper or toothbrushes or books on Amazon, then please go to our page on podcast1.com, the Ask Women page. There should be a banner that says Amazon. Go through that link, and you will be helping out our show every time you use that link.
It's almost like donating to kids in Africa.
Exactly the same thing.
Keep us on the air, guys.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's a good deed.
Exactly. All right, so now we have the amazing Ryan Keely on our show. So Ryan is, I'm just going to read what it says on Wikipedia, but is an American pornographic...
Don't read my Wikipedia. My Wikipedia is terrible.
Just the American part is all that
Fine.
matters.
She's an American female
And she's a hot geek, guys.
A hot geek. And she has her own podcast that is called Muff Said.
It's on the Death Squad Network.
On the Death Squad Network. And so, guys, go check it out for sure, because she's
only if you're
awesome.
into nerd stuff, because otherwise you'll be really bored. Like tomorrow we've got Tom Neely on. Yeah, he works in comic books.
There you go. I'm sure you have an
But if you're a
audience here.
geek, you're going to get a huge hard on, guys.
Such a boner.
Mentally.
Like, how about these geeks that have seen you in video? Do they just geek out and just drool on you?
It's really funny because I was a lesbian porn star for 6 years. I was Penthouse Pet October 09. I was Penthouse Pet of the Year runner-up 2011. Did a million stuff. I was in a video game. I have never been recognized on the street for any of my nude work. When people come up to me, they're like, "Hey, I love your podcast, Muff Said." And I was like, so they freak out, but mostly because I like to play magic.
You're like, don't you see my boobs?
That's so hot. I love that.
I think that's amazing.
It's really cool. I was at Ren Fair a couple weekends ago, and this guy came up to me. He's like, "Hey, do you do a podcast?" And I was like,
No
"Yes."
way.
He's like, "Well, some of us that work here really like your podcast, so like, why don't you come in the back and do some shots with us?"
No way.
It was amazing.
That's awesome.
We have to get out more. I want people to say that to us.
Were you a wench?
I was not. Well, I'm generally very wench-like. I mean, it doesn't really matter what day of the week. I mean, I'm a wench today.
Wow.
There you go.
Once
Well,
a wench, always a wench.
you were here. You were listening to our conversation in the very beginning for the man's playbook. So what do you think? Like, what is the best way to get women comfortable with sex?
Well, first you got to be comfortable with your own sexuality, and that's where the work really needs to be done. You have to really...
Therapy bills.
Yes, I do recommend therapy. The thing is when it comes to women and sex, you need to make women feel comfortable and safe. I am not going to bang you until I've spent enough time around you to feel safe.
Right.
And I think some pickup artists talk about it's like the 7-hour rule.
Really?
Mine's a 7-year rule.
There's a theory that you need to spend about 7 hours with someone for them to feel comfortable enough to take their clothes off with them. And whether you do that, like an all-day date, and that's 7 consecutive hours, or you split it up over a couple of times, it would make sense because, 3 dates, depending on what they are, that works out to about 7 hours.
Yeah, that actually makes
It's like
sense.
a long work day for me.
That's a long
By the end,
day.
I'm like, I just want to go to sleep.
You just want to go to bed
if
by
I'm
the
a
end.
guy, I want to make sure the first date is 7 hours long. Exactly.
Well, you do like a really great all-day date. Like you take someone to Ren Fair all day.
Wow.
Or you go to Six Flags or go...
And so then what is the first move after the 7 hours? Like, how do you go from we're like hanging out for 7 hours to I'm inside you? How does that happen?
Well, if you go to somewhere like Six Flags, you're going to feel so gross afterward after 7 hours that the clothes are going to come off anyway. Yeah, get this.
I went on a
clothes
great
off
date
me.
to Disneyland, I will say, and I'm telling you, there was love on Space
Nothing
Mountain.
turns
clothes
you on
came
like
off.
I'm just
So
saying,
quick
it
and
got
correct.
dark and it got hot.
An HJ on Space Mountain?
Maybe. I'm not going to tell you, Mo.
She's not that kind of girl, and her dad's listening. Stop.
No, I am that kind of girl.
I have never given an HJ in a public place.
Really?
Yeah.
Not a movie theater?
Not a movie theater.
What?
I'm watching the goddamn movie.
I love how you're surprised.
I don't
I
know.
would be surprised if someone did. You're like, you haven't?
Like in a car? Is car public?
Well,
Not really.
I've had
Okay.
sex in a car, but
If
that's
there are
only
people in the
because
backseat.
roommates.
Right.
Okay.
So there's limited
okay.
space.
Then
Wait, I
get
want to
that.
hear these answers from Ryan.
It's tough. Honestly, I don't know what it. I'm such an aggressor. I know what to do in the act, and I know what to do to lead up to the act. But for me, giving guys advice, I'm terrible at it because I always make the first move.
Interesting.
If someone,
Well, what do you do that works?
if a guy makes me feel comfortable enough, I literally just kiss them.
Right.
If I like
which is
them,
great
and they're
advice.
awesome, and I think they're cool, and I want them to put stuff places. Maybe not right away. Maybe a couple dates down the road, but I want to move in that direction. I just kiss them. That's it.
Well, that's interesting
Love
because
that.
my sister-in-law actually called me she texted me. She didn't call me on the weekend and said, I've dated this guy 3 times and he hasn't kissed me yet. What's going on? Is he
him.
weird? Is he gay? Anyway, so I said to her, well, next time, she's also a single mother. So there's like boundaries I'm sure that men have about single mothers, and they want to be respectful if they like the girl. So there's things going on in his mind too. But so I said the next time that you see him, make it very obvious that you want to be kissed, or you can go and kiss him yourself. And she did it. They had a full makeout session, and she was
I
like,
love
thank
that.
you, you're amazing. But yeah, I think that's the best way. For a girl, that is the best way. For a guy, there's other things that they can learn to do. But you talked about you have to be comfortable with your own sexuality first.
You have to know yourself, and you have to know what you want, and you have to know what your boundaries are, and what you're comfortable with, and what you want to do. I mean, if you are in a situation you're like, I don't know if I want to make out with her or if I don't, like, you need to think about what your intention is. Okay. Visualize your intention. If your intention is like, I want to have hot sex and maybe make babies 4 years from now with this girl, like, you want to think about that. You know, and like visualize, you know, and I hate when people talk about visualizing because it sounds like a goddamn hippie or Tony Robbins seminar.
Yeah.
But visualize what you want. And if you can't have that picture in your head, it's never going to happen.
Yeah. Well, actually, so a lot of guys write into me.
If you don't have the confidence to have that picture in your head, it's not going to happen.
So a lot of guys write into me who aren't as sexually experienced, and I actually point them towards one of your products. And I say the best, if you're not able to practice with another person, and you're not comfortable with yourself sexually, then the best thing to do is arm yourself with education. Mm-hmm. And then, honestly, you're way ahead of so many men that are out there, because a lot of men have had a lot of sex, but they don't actually know what they're doing. Just because you've had a lot of sex doesn't mean that you're a good lover, right?
Oh, let's talk about football players.
Oh, God.
I date only nerds. And the reason I date only nerds is so when I was back in high school, I was kind of a hoe. I'm not going to lie. And I was bored one day and I slept with a jock. And he was terrible. But the thing is, like, I know that this guy had slept with everyone because everyone knew that he'd banged like 3 of my friends. And I was like, okay, this is a man whore. I assumed it would be a good time.
Right.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
It's because he doesn't have to work just the way pretty girls don't have to work.
Right, exactly.
You're right.
I had sex with a nerd who I was maybe his second or third sexual experience, but because he was so excited about sex, he had done the research and he
That's awesome.
put in the work because he didn't know when he was going to get laid again, so he did everything that he possibly could to make me have a good time.
Amazing. And you did? And you did?
And I did. Really? And it was wonderful. And it's arm yourself with education.
Absolutely.
There's so many good books out there. There's so, my favorite sex book when people are like, I have a girlfriend that just came out of a marriage. She's been married to her high school sweetheart since she's 18. So she's sleeping around for the first time, and she's in her early 30s.
Wow.
So she's in this really unique situation, and she's so uncomfortable with sex because it's been with pretty much just one person this whole time. And I turned her onto this book. It's called The Guide to Getting It On from the Goofy Foot Press. I read it when I was...
Say that again? Say that again?
The Guide to Getting It On from Goofy Foot Press. You can buy it from Amazon. Go to the link through the page.
Thank you.
And it's one of the best books out there. It teaches you everything you could ever need to know about sex. And so it's really easy to read.
Like what?
So I read it when I was 16 because I was a nerd and I wasn't getting laid that much. So, but I knew that I wanted to have
sex till I was 18.
A lot of sex. I knew that I wanted to have
21. Okay.
Really?
Oh yeah. Well, I was a Christian. I was waiting for Jesus, and then something happened.
You didn't have butt sex because to save.
Oh no, I wasn't one of those either. Surprisingly. Anyways,
I hear that's what Christian girls do.
It is.
So much butt sex. Anyway. No, just like go out there and read books. And I love The Guide to Getting It On because it breaks down like gay sex, straight sex, lesbian sex, how vaginas and penises all look different and vary from person to person. And
interesting.
It talks about
how you should point and laugh at the ones that are weird.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let me ask you a question about reading a book. Where does the practice come in? If you're not having someone to practice with or that you're comfortable, that scenario isn't going to come up that often. How do you can read something, but how do you actually know how to do it?
So I think knowing in the back of your brain and your instinct kinks over. Like as human beings, we are designed to breathe, survive, and F. Like that is how we are hardwired. Everything else is shit that has happened like later on in evolution. Mm-hmm. We are designed to F and reproduce. So we definitely have an instinct that we need to trust and we need to believe in. Also, it's important to do that research ahead of time so you are aware of what's going on with your body. And so this is a personal story. So when I was 13 years old, this is a really inappropriate story.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hear
awesome.
it. There was a girl that came out as bisexual in my junior high. And I was like, oh, hell yes. So I invited her over to have a sleepover. And my parents let me sleep out in the playhouse.
Wow.
And she got me really, really stoned. And like I left like at 13, I was like, I had like candles and like baby oil because that's what my idea of like what sex was.
That's so cute.
And so she went down on me. she ended up going out on me, and it was like this amazing like sexual lady experience. But she was on her period, and at that point she wasn't comfortable with someone going down on their period. Just so you know, I've earned my Red Wings, and I don't care. Ladies, I'm throwing that out there.
Well, hold on. What are Red Wings?
When you have sex with a lady when she's menstruating.
Wow.
Low lights and baby
welcome,
wipes.
Low lights, baby wipes, and towels.
I didn't know
That's
it
the
had
name of
such a
your next
fancy
book.
name.
Yeah.
I didn't know
And
that.
dental dams.
I don't even know what
So,
that is.
okay. So I had
damn
this amazing sexual experience, and I always knew that I wanted to have more sex with the ladies. So I read a bunch of books about human sexuality. I read, what's my favorite one is, oh gosh, I'm blanking on it. Our Bodies, Ourselves. The most seminal sex book that's ever been written. If you're a lady, you need to read that book.
Our Bodies, Ourselves?
It was the first sex book written for women by women in the 70s.
Wow.
And they keep updating it. It's amazing. And so I read all of these sex books, and because I knew that I was going to have another chance to have sex with a lady. And when I did, it was actually with a hooker. I won an all-expenses-paid trip to the Kit Kat Ranch in Carson City, Nevada.
The Kit Kat Ranch.
The Kit Kat Ranch.
The Kit Kat Ranch. How do you win that?
I entered a contest online to win a free porn, and the grand prize was a hot tub party with some of the girls that had been in the video that were also like legally prostituting themselves out in Reno, Nevada.
Perfect.
I was 19.
Ka-ching.
And so I won this trip, and I went out there, and at first I was like really, really terrified. I was like, oh God, there's going to be all these porn stars, and we're going to be naked. This is before I was a porn star, obviously. We're going to be like naked in this hot tub together, and like, I don't know how I feel about this. And then afterwards, one of the girls was very nice, and she took me back, and she's like, well, you know, included in your prize is me.
Wow.
I was like, I have been wanting to test out my skills, and this is a lady who doesn't care if I'm terrible at it.
Yeah.
That's good. No pressure.
Part of the
No
package.
pressure. And I knocked it out of the park. I just thought about like how I want someone to touch me, and obviously a woman with another woman makes it a lot easier. But I was just very attentive. I paid attention to how she responded to touch.
You can even practice on your arm. Like, you still know when something feels good, and visualization is amazing. Well, because I actually learned a lot from the video I have of you. You did this one video called Porn Star Sex Life, and you can actually get it on my website, winggirlmethod.com/Ryan. And it's a great video, and it's not like a porn. It's you actually giving instructions on what to do to pleasure a woman. And you talked about these myths that porn teaches men.
Yeah, I did a whole segment called "Things You See in Porn You Should Never Do in Your Real Life."
Yeah, but one of the moves
like,
you talked about,
jacking off on someone's face.
no, but one of the things that you did teach was called the butterfly move, which I thought was a great move, and I showed it to my husband, and he thinks it's a great move as well.
Oh my God, I have to watch
and we
this.
thank you. Yes, exactly.
Oh.
So it's very
The
wonderful.
butterfly
Yes,
move. I don't.
the butterfly. It's
What's that about?
I can't even remember what I named all those moves because as I was writing this seminar, I was trying to like do. Is it this one?
Yep.
Okay.
Little spider fingers.
Little spider fingers
butterfly
that
fingers.
massage along the like the outer lips, the vagina, and because there's so many nerve endings in that whole area, and we tend to focus on like just the clit or just what's inside the vagina. That whole area feels good. And actually, one of my new moves. Well, actually, no, I've been taking a break from having sex with ladies because my TMJ is really out of control.
Oh my God.
Someone get this girl a dick.
Yeah, please.
We're getting it.
So actually, one of the new things that I've been learning, because I was reading about the one taste people in San Francisco, and I think they're a weird orgasm cult. And I'm not going to their classes. But after someone has an orgasm, they kind of like cup and hold like over the vagina and the pussy, and just kind of like do like a firm but gentle hold over the whole like crotchal region, and that I have noticed feels really good and helps like ground people after an orgasm. So they don't go through that whole like really sensitive, the uncomfortably sensitive, like right after an orgasm sensation.
Interesting.
Right.
Well, a really good way to start applying some of the things that you do learn if you are reading a book, and if you do suddenly get to be with a girl, you can say, I was reading about this one thing, let me try it on you. Because that's where your confidence comes from.
Yeah.
Because then you can be like the researcher, and you can be like, does this feel good? Does that feel good? I'm like,
Don't ask too many questions, but have her give you feedback. Because there's
that's
nothing
better.
worse
That's
than a
good. That's
guy.
good.
Like, so I do this thing right before I come where I get dead silent. And it's really hard breaking in new partners because they assume like all of a sudden my dead silence means that like what they're doing is terrible and they need to change it up, at which case they usually get punched in the chest.
Do you get lifeless or you just stop talking?
I don't make any noise and like I like hold my breath and I like clamp. Like everything everything like tense, everything. Even my lady bits. Everything just like tenses and I'm like and I'm like barely breathing, and like barely breathing. My eyes are scrunched really closed.
Nobody moves.
Don't move. Just keep doing what you're doing.
But new partners freak out because they're like, "Oh my god, she's suddenly getting like dead silent," and it looks. If you don't know, you think I'm like wincing,
dead.
Oh my god, she's not breathing.
Yeah. Well,
I have. Sorry to like keep steering in different directions, but I have again this quiz that I took out of a magazine that I found. Lots of reading to do at the gym. Okay, so anyway,
no working out to do.
No,
at the gym,
I know, no
just
working
reading.
out. My gym is going to get really mad because there's going to be all these magazines with ripped pages and
like,
not let me back in.
Someone's a perv. It's only about the sexual stuff.
It's true.
They always crumple when Marnie brings it in. Look what I found. I'm like on the street.
Yes, outside on Hollywood Boulevard. Okay, so they did this one. It was, what is it called? Polygraph on women, but they asked them all these questions to find out how they really feel and think about, sex and sexual things. So I wanted to kind of play a game with you guys, and I'm going to ask the questions and see.
What's the name of the game?
Let's talk about sex.
Come on.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex.
All right, but it's called Let's Talk About Sex. So let's talk about more sex, because we've already been talking about sex with
I was uncomfortable
Ryan
with that song
Keely.
when I was in 5th grade, and I'm still uncomfortable with it now. We are opposites.
Have you ever had sweet, sweet lady love?
Not with ladies. No, I'd consider that like sour,
I like
weird.
how you say it so cute, sweet, sweet lady love.
I'm like, no, that I would consider that like eating sardines.
Do you taste your pussy?
No, God. Oh my God.
No, I ask you
Keep asking questions. Make her uncomfortable. I love it.
It's important to taste your pussy every day in the shower so you know what's going on with it.
Oh my God, I can't even handle my coffee in the morning.
You get like an ice cream stick and be like,
what do you mean?
That's tasty.
Why do you have
I
to
don't
taste
do
it?
that.
So you know if your pussy tastes good. Because if your pussy doesn't taste good, you either have a chemical imbalance, you need to be eating more fruit, you're not hydrated enough, or you've got like BV and you need
If
to
my
take care of
pussy
that shit.
tastes like McDonald's, I'd eat every morning. And I'm sure that's what it tastes like. I'm not healthy.
Point though, it's like you should be in tune at least.
I'd be like,
Maybe not
this morning,
tasting,
hash browns.
Oh, what's that?
The thing is, if you want someone else to eat it, like you need to be able to eat it yourself. I'm sorry. Like
True. And you can spot, and I'm not going to even try and make a joke with this. Let's talk about sex. All right.
Giggling like 8-year-olds.
Seriously.
pineapple juice will make your juices taste
Actually,
better.
that's really true. And a girlfriend of mine told me that, and suddenly we started all like figuring out like pineapple juice. That's
It makes a man's semen taste better. It makes a woman's pussy taste more delicious.
Ooh,
Is the
and
asparagus
us?
thing true?
About pee? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
You've
unless
never
you're in
eaten
a golden
asparagus?
shower,
But right.
like,
No, I'm into golden showers, but not sipping my own pussy. What? I don't know.
Yo, hey, what you
just
drinking?
pee on me. Just
Can you edit
come
that
on,
out?
Pia. Just
All
don't
right.
look at me.
I'll be flipping my pussy.
First question, okay, is do you like giving blowjobs? Kristen, what's your answer?
Take a guess. No. But now maybe with a different product that we have on hand here at the studio.
Maybe she will.
No, I don't.
Okay. Haley.
Yes, I do.
Oh, interesting.
But no, I get tired. I mean, I get tired easily. It always goes to
a
sex.
joke.
Okay, can I say this? I have a fear. You mentioned something about TMJ. I have a fear of my jaw locking up, and it legitimately happens every time. And so I have this almost, I freeze because
Just
I'm
slip
paranoid.
the head and use your hand.
I do. I'm like, no, but I can't, like, it just makes me uncomfortable opening my jaw too wide because I'm pretty sure it's going to get stuck there, and then I'm going to have this
Have you ever
horrible
tried?
story for my grandchildren. That, like,
You'd be terrible at lesbian pornography.
yes.
Terrible.
I'm just terrible in general.
I don't know. You got this like sexy spinner thing going on. You got great hair.
Oh, thanks.
Look at that.
Yeah, I get hit on by
Okay.
ladies sometimes.
Ryan, what do you think? So do you like giving blowjobs?
Yes. Though for years I refused to give head because I thought it would make me a slut. Like I was okay to have sex, but only like sluts would give blowjobs.
That was the opposite of me. I was like, nope, waiting for Jesus, but everything else is okay.
Everything else is fine.
Yeah, but now actually I didn't really like blowjobs until the last couple years, and now I'm really into them. And like if my pussy isn't getting wet enough, I'll just start like putting that wiener up in my face, and
There
then
you
my
go.
pussy gets wet, and then I've got like enough saliva built up that I can use as lube. And
Yeah.
There you go.
yeah,
There
Mo,
you
do you
go.
like giving blowjobs?
I hate giving blowjobs, but as a
The money's
man,
good, right?
It's really good money. But I always
Nice
have to
watch.
shave because I got stubble and they complain. No, JK.
So you like receiving them?
I like receiving them, and as a man, there's nothing more empowering than being with a woman that loves giving you a blowjob.
I don't love giving blowjobs. Like, I like sucking cock, but that means I'm going to get laid, and it's going to be
Yeah,
awesome.
that's it for me. It's like it's called a job for a reason. That's what Samantha said, and I will stand by that.
Yeah. Honey,
I'm sorry,
it's called
Mo.
a job for a reason.
It's called a job for a
Can we call
reason.
it a blow privilege?
You see, there you go.
That's what it's called for you guys.
Exactly.
But it's like I don't mind starting there to get things started because I get turned on a little bit by like being a part of it.
How do you girls feel about blowjobs and then pumping and then after the pump another blowjob? Or in the middle of the pump blowjob?
I used to be okay with that until I actually thought about what I was doing, and then I was like, "Ugh, no, I don't want
That's
that."
also
Why
a
are
Sex
you
and the City
so
episode.
afraid of your own vaginas?
You gotta like
Why
the taste
am I
of
so
your pussy.
afraid? Because I don't want that. I don't want what's down there, even if I'm clean and everything. It's a different world for me. I don't want it back in my mouth when it's been. No, not for me.
I feel
but
you.
I do.
Then you want
I
me
do.
to kiss you after I got my pee-pee in your
No one's
mouth.
saying we want you to.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't want you to kiss me either. Maybe Mo, I would want you to kiss me, but I don't want to kiss after you've gone down on me either. I don't want it.
Really?
Yeah, it's a psychological thing. But
You guys are afraid of your own vaginas. Y'all
absolutely.
Need to make,
Yeah,
you
they're
need to
like
make
it's
a
like
sex-
Shark Week with
Absolutely.
my vagina. It's like burner.
Your vagina is a magical, wonderful land of exciting sensation.
It probably
That's
is. But
true.
I'm not an
true.
explorer.
That is
I'm
true.
more of a
I just don't want to taste it. I don't want to
The
taste
thing
my
is,
vagina.
you need to get over
Agreed.
that fear.
I agree.
Because
Yeah.
Because it would be more
Goddamn
fun.
straight girls,
I know,
Jesus Christ.
seriously. But I do like giving blowjobs when the person I'm with likes receiving them.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not getting a good reaction, I'm like, this is not fun for me. I'm not enjoying
I
myself.
think that's with anything sexual. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, for
you know.
sure.
And I'll do weird things if I know my partner's really into it. In the same way, like I expect them to put up with my weird stuff because they get a good response.
Exactly. Absolutely. Okay, question number 2. Does size really matter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
why?
I think it's a spectrum thing, you know? It's like if we're talking like micro penis, yeah, it matters. But if it's like really, you know, kind of like, as long as it's there, I'm talking like, you know.
By the way, micro penis won my Google image search of the year, I
Oh.
think. I didn't know micro penis was actually a thing.
It's a thing.
I always thought it was just like a term. Like, oh,
No.
it's got like a micro penis. And then my boyfriend was like,
Okay.
no, there are actual micro penises.
What does that mean?
It's like literally like, it's almost like an innie.
You have an internet in front of you.
Yeah. It will become
I know,
your top
seriously.
rated image
You're going to
search.
love to
I'll be
image
looking
search
at
that later.
Okay, so what if size does matter? Okay, number 1 is how. How does it matter?
So for me, I don't want anything that's too small. And too small is
Yeah, what is too
less
small
than
for our
average.
listener? What's average? Our listeners
5?
out there.
5 inches.
6?
5 inches. Yeah, no.
Flaccid?
5?
No. Not flaccid. You never measure. They're shower and growers. Like
So 5 inches is average.
5 inches is about average.
And then what's
And-
above and beyond?
anything over 8 years too much. It's too
Plus.
crazy. I don't want
Yeah,
that.
and that's overwhelming.
Yeah.
But the thing is that some of
drill
it
into
is
China.
like it. And everyone's different. You know, I have some girlfriends that really don't like penetrative sex, and they just want some guy that's really good at giving head. And I've had sex with with guys that are smaller or were premature ejaculators, but they were all really great at giving head and using their fingers, so I didn't care.
Well,
Say that again, because
you
I
call
think
it
that's a
giving
really good
head?
point.
I've dated men that had small penises or were premature ejaculators, but they were all really good at using their giving head and using their hands, so I didn't
Yeah.
care.
So you getting eaten out, you call it giving head too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Even
know.
I'm
I knew
Canadian
that.
too, and I
I
know
thought,
that.
I thought only men called it.
No,
that.
no.
Oh,
Even I knew
wow.
that.
Get with it.
I just called it
Get
lunch in the box.
with it.
No. Don't
You
say
can't
that,
call it
Mo.
lunch in the box?
You've gone that's too far now today, apparently.
So what's your preference, men or women? Men?
Oh, so I was 30% gay, and then I did gay porn for 6 years, and it turned me straight. Like I have
Oh, really?
Wow.
I've been with, it's easily over 100 women, easily probably somewhere around 200.
What about it turned you straight?
The thing is that if every experience was with like a beautiful woman that I was like really wanted to get down with, and for a company that I like shooting for, that would have been one thing. But the thing is that when it's a job, sometimes you're not into the girl. Sometimes she's not into you. Sometimes she's straight and not willing to work with you. I don't care if a girl's straight. I don't care if she's not into me. I just want like someone that can be a good scene partner. And there's a lot of times that didn't happen. Some girls have hygiene issues down there, which is traumatizing.
That is traumatizing.
Which is why I don't
They should be tasting themselves.
This is why I tell ladies to taste their own vagina so they know what they're putting in someone's face. And so it was. I'm kind of burnt out on it right now. And the thing is that I announced my retirement. I retired back in November. I gave people a 2-month lead time, letting them know I was retiring. So up until November 20th, I shot more scenes in those 2 months than I probably had in the past 2 years of my career.
God.
So I have had so many lady bits recently, and I was only 30% gay to begin with. So I'm kind of burnt out on the bench.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't blame
So now
you.
you're into men and penises.
Well, I've always dated
You
men
have, I know.
because women are crazy. Because if I'm going to get paid to have sex with beautiful women, why would I date them? Like, why? Like, I'm sorry,
because you can't get
lesbians.
paid to date them.
Yeah.
And deal with all their shit.
Yeah. Instead, I can just show up to set and have someone like make me look beautiful in hair and makeup, and then they're like, "Hey, this is a beautiful lady, and you two are gonna put stuff places."
And then never see each other again. Amazing.
Unless you want to, And then sometimes you hang out after.
Did you ever date anybody from any of your jobs?
I had sex with them afterwards. I wouldn't say that.
Interesting.
Was dating. Yeah.
I found that interesting because I just did a radio show, and there was another porn star with me, and she was talking about the same thing. Like, she would have 8 hours of shooting a porn, and then she would go have sex afterwards with the people who she was in the scene with.
Because shooting a scene, you're shooting a performance, and there's this one girl that it's so frustrating that we never had to have proper sex because we were really attracted to each other. But every time that we were booked together, it'd either be like a threesome scene with a straight girl where we would just have to manipulate this girl that was a terrible performer around and make her look good. Or we'd be shooting for a company that would keep cutting and wouldn't let us just enjoy our sexual experience and follow us to the camera. So they'd be all like, "Okay, girls, that's enough of that position. Can you come in 30 seconds?" And we're like, "I would have come if you hadn't shot a direction."
That's so
right.
weird.
That's true. It's like
breaking it up.
20 people who are in your sex life.
Have you had a lot of threesomes with?
Yes.
And does that just happen kind of on set too? Or
You'll get booked for a threesome.
Got it.
I went through an orgy phase, so I went through a whole group sex. I was dating this fashion model in New York, and she introduced me to this underground lesbian sex thing that was awesome.
Wow.
I've never seen Mo so interested in a podcast.
I know. Suddenly Mo's like, so tell me more.
And he hasn't
Tell me more
mentioned My
about
Girl
this.
once.
I know, exactly. Wait, let's go back to the questions because I want to get some answers for the guys
I'm fascinated,
who are listening and the
though.
girls who are listening as well. Because the girls who are listening are freaking amazing, and we would love for you to contribute in any way.
Please.
So, yes, again, ask at askwomenpodcast.com.
Put in the subject lady parts.
Yes, lady parts, exactly. Here's what I want for my lady parts, or my vagina smells great.
Or it smells like hash browns.
God, Okay, next question. Do powerful men turn you on?
Yes.
Yes, for me too.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so define powerful.
Depends on the situation.
Because powerful, for people who are listening, doesn't mean money or abs of steel or guys who can lift up cars. It means other things.
To me,
women.
that's guys who have influence, and I find that powerful, and I find that attractive.
Yes, for sure.
I think a man who can command the situation is really sexy. Like, no matter where you are, whether you're at a bar and he's figuring out where everyone's going to be going in cabs or something, or that turns me on. That to me is demonstrating your power and doesn't.
I watch a lot of National Geographic, and you see these bucks and how the males deal with each other, and the buck with the biggest horns is laying every single deer in that whole herd
because he can beat off the other men,
and that's it. But that's what
Have
power
you read Sex
is.
at Dawn? Yeah. Have you read Sex at Dawn?
Morning sex, or right when the sun goes up.
Sex at Dawn, it's this amazing book that came out with sex researchers, and it talks about how monogamous and non-monogamous creatures, how their size differentiated. Okay, so when it comes to gorillas, it's like a monosexual culture because the biggest, baddest gorilla gets to have sex with all of the ladies. And so while the gorillas are massive, their penises are tiny. And in non-monogamous animal cultures, the males are 20% larger than females.
Really?
Which is actually a big debate about why humans are not designed for monogamy. And in cultures where they mate for life, they're the same size. So yeah, that doesn't necessarily relate to human sexuality, just because it's the biggest baddest butt gets touched.
But
that's interesting.
getting into monogamy, you could really debate whether human beings are monogamous, because I'd say the majority of us are not.
Oh, that's like a whole other
And that's
show
a whole
for
nother
sure.
episode
But actually,
you have to come back.
I wanted to
Brian.
add on about the having you said value, right? Is that what you said? Okay.
Well,
So-
influence.
Or influence. So they were saying in this article, just focus on showing a few key elements: your brains, your money skills, big paycheck or not. So just saying like your money skills.
I like a guy that's smart with his money, whether or not he makes a lot of it.
Exactly. So generosity and honesty. Those were the 4 things. And to be honest, and they all pass the polygraph.
Yeah.
So power is definitely an aphrodisiac. So one more question. Do you... Oh, actually, hold on. I'm going to do another one. Do you ever feel self-conscious about receiving oral sex? Yes.
Why does everyone look to me first?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't want to answer.
That's my writing. You're so awkward. Of course I do.
The first time I had oral sex, I had the guy keep every single light off and we had to do it in the shower, and those were my stipulations. In the shower, but
dark.
So like the soap and like water could get in the way, and then it was pitch black.
That'd be the worst.
But
for
it was
him,
a good
just being
experience.
He's like,
lost
where
in
are
it.
you? That's horrible.
He's like alms for the poor, like a blind guy holding out a cup for my vagina. I don't know, but that was my first experience.
What about you, Haley?
You feel so bad for me right now.
I just
know.
want to take you to a tantric sex retreat. That's all I want to do.
I'm way too uptight.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe after a tantric I'll go.
I would go too. I would
Haley
totally
first.
go as well.
What women don't realize
just go to
that
something
have
tantric.
those like fears, or the smell fear, or the taste fear, when you kill off all the other senses except taste and smell, guess what? That's all those senses are gonna be heightened.
Yeah, that's why we're self-conscious.
Oh, I love the smell of sex. That is my favorite smell. It's like that sweaty, musky, tangy. Like,
Do men like that?
The smell of sex.
The
Unless
smell
it's
of
the
a
smell
vagina.
of latex.
Yeah, I think men do
Yeah,
like the
that's
smell
the
of it. There are
worst.
some men that don't, of course. It's not like Kristen's the only one that doesn't like the smell or the taste. Or there are men out there who don't.
We should join our own like weird club.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, you think it's weird? I think it's weird.
And you guys all masturbate in your own corner.
I think there should
Lights
be
off.
a sexually awkward community for people that are like, I'm just not comfortable with sex, but I like to try to have it. So can we be uncomfortable together?
Right. Well, that's
love
me and my
that.
boyfriend.
Okay, actually, I'm going to throw in one more because this is an important one. So, do you consider a booty call a compliment?
No. No, I actually,
No?
so I was
For
dating
you?
this guy and I just broke up with him because so admittedly what happened when we first started dating was a bit of an issue. Like, he got really, really sick for 9 days. So I was coming over there and I was like, triple digit sick. So I was coming over there and like bringing him soup and stuff and putting out because like, you know, there's a wiener there and I'm fond of it. So I'm going to put it places. And and so, but then now he's no longer sick, but he's been super, super busy. So he's just wants me to come over and hang out and have sex. I'm like, no. Like, you were sick, but we just started dating, so you still need to court me.
I love
But
that.
I'm so busy. And I'm like,
I like
yeah,
that.
well, I'm not. I mean, when you're sick, yes, I will show up with snacks and vagina. You're not sick. Until you see that temperature on the thermometer, it's not happening. So I just dumped him, actually.
I like that
yesterday.
snacks are part of the vagina. Snacks and
It
vagina.
is a delicious snack. And also, if I'm having sex, I also want to eat.
I love this guy's drive for being super sick and still like wanting to do it.
Yeah.
I kind of made him.
But there are also women that have booty calls, and you girls will text us at 1 or 2 in the morning, and you'll expect us to come over and perform at a high level when you're sloppy drunk.
How dare we?
I know, we're awful women.
And
Do
we're
you
sorry
like
it goes
I'm
two
sorry,
ways,
You know what? I'm
Mo.
sorry, I didn't ask you the question. Do you consider a booty call a compliment?
It depends.
On?
If I like the girl, then I don't consider it a compliment. But if there's like 3 girls that consider me their booty call at the time, then I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. If my penis has
There's
some
lots of
value
high fives happening
and I'm
in this room right now.
servicing the greater community of Los Angeles, then I'm fine with that.
What do you mean if you like the girl, it's not a compliment?
Because I want it to be more than just a booty call. I wish you were saying my guy friend or this guy I'm seeing or something that's a little more intimate.
Okay.
Than just the dude who comes over.
It's not enough for you.
Plows me, and then I tell him to get the fuck out of my bed.
Yeah.
Because there's those women.
I agree on the flip side of what you're saying. If I am choosing for it to be a booty call and only want it to be that, it's freaking amazing. But
that
if I want
my
more,
sex is so good that she keeps calling me back.
There
to
you go.
give her more.
There you go.
Because she knows I'm going to perform every single time. It's
you
like
obviously read all those books and watched Ryan's program that you can get at winggirlmethod.com/Ryan. Wonderful. Okay, so thank you, Ryan, so much for being on this show. Again, your podcast is called...
People should follow me on Twitter. That's at Ryan Keely. That's RyanKeely. I do a show almost every Thursday on the Death Squad Network. It is called Muff Said. Google Death Squad and Muff Said. You will find it. We will be on tomorrow night, Thursday. So
I love that.
It's not going to have anything to do with sex, but I would love to come back.
Oh, I should come on.
Sure. Yes, exactly. That show you can be on. It's all about, what is it? It's comics and
comics, gadgets, bleeding edge tech, sci-fi,
amazing,
magic, all that fun stuff.
Hot nerd.
Amazing.
I love it.
Well, thank you guys for listening again today. Please follow us on Twitter so that Kristen doesn't have a heart attack. It is at Ask Women Podcast. And if you have questions for Analyze This, write to ask@askwomenpodcast.com.
Thanks for listening to the Ask Women podcast. Go to podcastone.com next week for a brand new show.
It's no secret. People are switching to Arm & Hammer.
My name is Ilsa Singer. I have been in cat rescue for 20 years. I know cats, I know cat odors. Arm & Hammer Double Duty Cat Litter neutralized both urine and feces odors.
Only Double Duty Clumping Litter combines advanced odor eliminators with Arm & Hammer baking soda to destroy urine and feces odor on contact, guaranteed, or your money back.
I think it's a high-quality product. I see a lot of value in it. I will switch to Double Duty